Surprise! Yeah. All right. Hey, welcome to Muni Misfits in the morning. My name is Chris Larson, head golf professional at Osgood, and I'm surprised we're on air right now. This is the morning show with Fargo Golf. On my left side, I've got Greg McCullough, head golf professional at, where are you at? Edgewood and Elzegel. And then on my right here, I've got, did I say right?
You said left.
Okay. It's early. And then on my right, I got Matt Cook, head golf professional at Rose Creek and Prairiewood, and we are at Rose Creek today. Thanks for hosting again.
Hey, it's great to be here again.
We got a couple extra misfits today. Who do we got today?
I'm Jason Spitzner.
Over superintendent at Osgood.
So this is the super episode.
Super duper.
Super duper episode. So are we missing?
In action, baby.
Is he on vacation already?
You know, they're doing the blowout today, so they're blowing out the irrigation system, getting things prepared for winter already, and supposedly that's taken up his time.
So
He knew about this 4 days ago.
I understand. Don't kill the messenger.
So if you haven't tuned in before, this is the Fargo Golf Show where we speak about everything Fargo Golf. We talk about events, and now it's going to be end of season type stuff. We're going to be talking about
End of season
For one of us.
Who's ending the season?
Did you
Actually, two of us.
Did you not wake up this morning and have snow on the ground?
I was 85 in Holland this morning. I hit balls this morning.
Did the sun come up a little bit earlier there? So
yeah, there was snow on the ground. That was kind of a drag, seeing white stuff already. Wasn't expecting that, I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, I mean, there was actually accumulation. Hey, you guys down there, do you have a measurement? How much snow we got?
We didn't have anything in Moorhead. It was
Really?
just nice and wet. No snow on the ground.
Anything to measure around Osgood or nothing?
Just on the vehicles.
Okay, so do we have a frost delay today?
Guys, do we have frost day today? We'll have to see when the sun starts poking out. It'll pop in if the temp is cold enough and the
Okay,
conditions are right. It's not real windy, so we don't know yet.
all right.
Now that's a typical superintendent's answer right there. We just have to wait and see.
Yep.
Seriously.
If they're ready to play at 7:03, I would delay the time just a little, just to be on the safe side.
For a lot of people, they don't understand it though. I mean, as far as our golfers, they come on in and they're like, "I was 34 degrees in my car. It can't be any frost, and so let's go play." And even last week, I think we had a day where our staff was already out mowing. They got out real early. They were through almost halfway through. We hadn't started tee times for the day yet. All of a sudden, they come on in and say, "We got to put brakes on this because all of a sudden frost is developing." So, can you talk a little bit about that, just to kind of educate some of those that probably aren't as familiar as far as what's going on there?
Well, with frost, it can form even when the temps are, in the upper 30s, even at 40 degrees, frost can form in some lower areas. And what it is just basically the water molecules or water particles in the plant freeze. The plant doesn't freeze, so that's what that white film on everything is. They freeze. And if you walk on those, drive on those, anything like that, you'll actually puncture the leaf blade itself. And then you'll have the brown, like the footprints. If you see people walking on, you'll see the footprints. It basically just damages the cells of the plant, and that's what causes your damage. And typically it's early spring, late fall when you have the frost form and your plants aren't actively recovering yet. So then you have that damage, and that damage, it generally won't kill the plant, but your damage could last for weeks, months, even, the whole season. And then when your plant is damaged, it tends to bring in weeds and all that stuff forms. But it's just as the weather, in certain areas, if it's windy, generally frost will not form for the most part, even if the temps are in 32, 33 degrees. And then there's some days where it didn't seem like it was going to be frosty. The sun kind of pops up and all of a sudden frost pops in. And so that's when we delay all our mowing. If frost comes up, we delay everything just because of the damage that we would cause. It's not worth the damage because it just will not recover, especially in the fall. if you damage it in the fall, you're going to see that damage into the spring, and it's just going to affect you later on.
Sure. Yeah, I always know in the spring, it's like, you've got daylight much earlier, and you're looking out and you see those white rooftops in the morning, I'm like, oh, this sucks. I know it's going to be a tough start to the day. Now in the fall, you can't see anything because it's absolutely dark in the morning, and so you're just kind of waiting for that to happen. But yeah, that's kind of one of those golf professionals, a nightmare.
So our marketing squad over here, you guys put together a solid list of questions for superintendent. I mean, did you guys take a look at your?
Yeah, it's an extended hour for the show. We're in extended hours.
So I gotta ask, was this like questions that you are particularly interested in, or where did you get all of these questions?
Who did this come from?
Some of it was Greg. A lot of it was Greg. And then I Googled, like,
of course it is.
what do golfers want to know from their superintendents?
Yes.
Okay.
And I read some articles, and that's
Perfect. Well done.
What you inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah, and I will also tell you that we are live right now. So if anyone is up and at 'em right now and wants to talk to the superintendents and wants, all right, and if you've got any questions, whether it be grass or otherwise, let us know, and we'd be happy to field those questions live. Also, feel free to post in any of the comments too, because we are on YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify. I don't think you can post a comment on Spotify, but you can certainly listen to us on Spotify. So anyone, if you want any questions answered, now is your time. So I'm going to just start kind of, are you looking at the questions right now?
I'm looking at the answers.
You got the answer key right now. So this is more of a test.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Here, we're gonna start here with Jace here. All right. So what is the toughest part of your job?
Oh, the toughest part is
You only get one.
Yeah, it's just got to be with the weather. It's kind of a combination, the weather and everything that just changes day by day. Nothing is the same. Whether you think everything is going well one day and the next day could be completely opposite. Either disease could pop up or people don't show up, so you're scrambling to get things done, or if there's an event and somebody doesn't show up. It's just a combination of, you've got to be able to be flexible and just roll with the punches. If you don't, you're not going to last very long.
So this year, what was your tough? I mean, you say weather. I mean, that's very vague, right? And
yeah.
I get it.
And weather changes every day. So
Was there a particular obstacle you had this year?
This year was fairly good. We had nice rain, timely rains. This year wasn't anything that was horrible. It was actually pretty good, pretty even keel all the way through the year.
Course conditions were solid.
There really wasn't one big thing that got in the way right this year. I mean,
Okay.
the only thing right now is my assistant took another job, so we're going to be looking for a new one of those. So that kind of stinks, trying to replace. Always, it's tough trying to replace people when they leave for other jobs, but staffing has been very difficult, especially this fall. So.
Right.
We have a question from the audience.
Perfect.
When is opening day next year?
That's a good one. We will see.
Since Eric's not here today, we're not closing.
That's right.
We'll be open all
Eric,
year
when are you
long.
closing? Oh, we're not.
Rose Creek is going to
They're
stay
staying
open.
open the whole year.
So besides working with just an awful golf professional this year, what was the toughest part of your job this year?
Oh, God, I don't know. Really didn't really have too much toughness this year, you could say, but
What about geese? You guys did a pretty good job corralling all the geese, though.
yeah, it was one of the better years we've had with geese. You have 30, next thing you know, you have 70. They show up from wherever, and we kept them pretty corralled this year, which was nice. I think the complaints went way down, I would think.
We just sent them all over to Edgewood.
You did.
Yeah.
We went from like 4 to 4,000.
It's mostly ducks. Thank
Now it
goodness.
is.
Thank goodness.
I would think that I admire, that I would think would be one of the toughest parts of your job is the unbelievable number of rounds we've had in the last 3 years.
Yes.
And to not just get maintenance done, but to try to get any projects done, because we've had player assistants, sometimes range kids, range staff, if time permits, even to go out and try to even help out with filling divots, something like that. At the time, we haven't been able to do it hardly at all, because they said it would get in the way. And so it's just little things like that. So I imagine, how has that factored this last, 2 to 3 years now that we've had we have a record rounds compared to Edgewood in their glory years, but I mean, it's been busy.
The hardest part is recovering from all the play. We can, in the morning, we can get our daily stuff done. We can go out and fill divots. We have time to get that done. It's just the amount of them. There's more than there has been. The divots, in fairways, the ball marks on greens they're always an issue, but it seems to be more and more all the time. Elzagel is horrible for ball marks, but you try to repair and stuff, everything you can before you mow. But you're under a time crunch, so you don't get all of them, you get a handful, get what you can get, and then get on the mower so you don't get caught by play. But yeah, it's hard to recover from all that. But mid-season, we can handle the play mid-season. Everything's growing, everything's recovering. It's your shoulder seasons that are tough. And, plays busy in the spring, plays busy in the fall. So we just go with the flow, fix it as best we can, and keep going.
So this is on one of our questions right here, and the divot and the ball mark deal. How long does it take, and a divot and a ball, how long does it take like a typical ball mark to heal?
If it's replaced and fixed correctly right after it happens, it'll heal itself up in about 3 days. You won't notice it, and that's a ball mark that is just the mark. You don't have that pushing the turf up where you see the soil underneath. But if it's replaced or fixed correctly, it's a couple days. If it's not fixed correctly or not fixed right away, it'll take a couple weeks.
And then how long does it take a divot to heal? Now that's relative, right?
That's
how big is that divot?
If it's a bigger divot and you replace it, it can actually regrow and heal itself up, and the roots will come in a few days. If it's a shallow one where you have to actually put in a divot mix, it's going to take a week, couple weeks before that really grows and before the grass around it starts to hide it. And
and that's one of the hardest parts, I think, between the relationship between golf professionals and superintendents is that, if I heard Fessler say this one time, if we're doing our jobs correctly, we're essentially messing your golf course up. We're putting play out, right, as much as we can, because we're trying to promote golf, make it big as possible, and then that just means that you guys have more work to do. Right? I mean, if no one played, your job would be a whole lot easier. So it's that delicate balance between, how can we get as much play out there as possible without making sure that workload on you guys. I mean, you guys got a ton of stuff to do, let alone fixing ball marks, divots, and all that stuff that comes with just a ton of play. So with golf booming right now, and we're just going through record rounds, have you seen your workload increase? Have you seen the difficulty of your job increase with how busy golf has been?
I mean, I don't think it's increased. I think what it's done is caused us to hire more people so we can get more things done. And for us, the timing is we've got to get it done in the morning, because once about 10, 11 o'clock hits and those tee sheets are full, if we're not done, we're not going to accomplish anything.
Because most of your guys' job, like when you pull in, I mean, you got lights on the mowers. And I don't think a whole lot of our patrons realize that a lot of what you guys do is done in darkness, like early morning.
Yeah, so right now we handle a lot of our mowing. So right now at Edgewood, we have 5 staff members who go to school. Well, they're available in the morning. School doesn't start till 9:30. So we are glad that we haven't had a lot of frosty mornings, because we've started at 6 every morning still, throw on the lights and go, because then they can help us mow. But if we have frost delays and we have to push it to 8:30 or 9, they're in school. So now we're really short staffed. So that's been a big challenge. So that's kind of why we've kept our start time where it is, and that'll change on Monday, because Monday I think is, between today and this weekend and Monday, I think we're going to regularly start seeing frost, and it's winding down definitely.
Sure. Okay, I got
What do you think of this one?
Oh, you got one?
Or did we transition into what, if anything, is your favorite part of your job? How about you, Brian? What, if anything,
One day,
is your
your favorite part of Ryan's job.
Friday noons are just being outside all day.
Yeah.
It's, your office is outside. I mean, it's nothing better than being out there and just watching like your crew gel and become a team. And that's always, it's fun. You can watch the progression of that and they become friends and then they start slacking off.
Eric, how about you? Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, be like,
My favorite part is being on here.
move forward.
You know, we can go to him live. We have the capabilities of like just calling him up, bringing him in through a.
That's a really good idea. We should just take this on the road.
We should, shouldn't we? So yeah, what's your favorite part of your job there, Jace?
It's really just the outside, and you know, I haven't played as much golf as I did in the past, but I love golf. I love the game.
Yeah.
I always watch it. Don't play it as much as I used to, but that's the best part.
It's got to be a pretty good feeling seeing kind of like when everything is done and seeing the finished product and seeing what things look like as far as when it's at its best. It's kind of like, yeah, that's pretty cool. It took a lot of work and effort to get it there.
Yeah, after the morning mowing and you're driving around checking everything and seeing how everything is just, fairways are nice and striped and you've got the greens are all cut and smooth and flags out there blowing in the wind. Yeah, it's
I like
nice.
that.
It's a pretty good view.
You know, Eric Hansen is our superintendent at Rose Creek.
He is.
Are you sure?
And I always like to say, you know, we do get a lot of season pass holders, guests, patrons that come on in and pay a lot of compliments to what the golf course looks like. And I'm sure at your courses they're doing the same. And you guys often don't hear about that. I purposely don't share that with Eric because I like to kind of keep him on the edge. I always try to get, you know, better and better. But, you know, that's also got to be quite rewarding because I think, like I said, at all the 5 golf courses, we're very fortunate to have really, really good turf conditions. People go outside the area and they talk all the time. It's like, wow, what a bargain this is as far as for the conditions we're getting as well. So.
And you know, when you look at the golf, the other bummer is that the golf courses right now are like the best that they've been, you know, and we're getting ready to put 3 to bed, you know, but fall golf is some of the best time ever, right? Because the turf is just excellent and the trees are popping. What time of year? I mean, obviously you guys, spring is brutal, right? But I mean, do you guys enjoy the falls as much as I would say your golfers do? I mean, everyone loves the fall.
For me, the falls are the best because everything's kind of recovering from the heat of the summer, all that. It's starting to recover, you know, kind of come back.
Cool season grasses are popping.
Yeah, they're ready to go. They're, you know, springs, I like springs, but with the chance of flooding all the time, springs are just you never know. It could be a really good spring if it doesn't flood. If you have some flooding, it's going to be it's going to be a long, long year when you have, especially major flooding.
Sure.
So our springs lately haven't been real good. So the falls have been where it's at.
And Ryan, how much golf do you play?
Did 2 rounds this year.
I will say though, you've been doing, how long have you been? You've been in this role now for 1 year, but how long have you been superintendent with Fargo Parks? How long have you been assistant or otherwise?
Oh, I've been in the golf industry for a little over 25 years.
So you've seen a lot. And talk to us about where did you come from? Like what course have you worked at?
I started at Rose Creek back in '95. Been a long time, and then I came to Osgood, and back to Rose Creek, and back to Osgood again.
When did you start?
2005 year.
Okay, so then that was the Allpeter days, then, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
I believe so. Hey, Dave, where were you?
Yeah, Eric, who is here? Oh yeah, that's right. You're not here.
Eric was my boss for a long time, so.
So what is the difference now going? I mean, obviously roles have changed, but you know, dealing with now at going from Rose Creek to Osgood. I mean, what are the differences there between Rose Creek and Osgood? Because you guys with dealing with different golf courses, they're all in the Fargo area, but they're unique, right? Because they've got different challenges, turf wise and otherwise. So, I mean, what's the big thing at Osgood that you have to deal with that maybe another golf course doesn't have to deal with?
That we deal with, more than native grasses, I would say. And we have bent grass tee boxes, and our driving range is super busy, and we have to do divots on there every day. Otherwise, we'd have just a dirt hole.
Are you amazed that we have, like, without question, we have the biggest driving range out of the Fargo parks? If not, maybe, I mean, do you guys think that might be the biggest driving range in town?
Meadows would be close.
Okay.
But I think, you guys would probably have the biggest teeing area, yep, and
But-
the biggest range, yep.
After one day, solid day, that tee line is decimated. Like, that's just how much play is out there and how many golf balls are hit. And if you guys aren't consistently, moving those ropes and making sure that we've got pristine tee lines to hit off of, I mean, like 2 or 3 days in the same teeing position, I mean, you wouldn't find a shred of turf out there. So the challenge
Find the irrigation line. That's for sure.
So yeah, that's a super busy driving range. Yeah. And talk about what we're doing now going forward in next year with that driving range. We kind of put a little mowing project out there.
Yeah, we did.
So for those of you that frequent the Osgood driving range, now since it's so big, Ryan and I were thinking like, hey, it would be really cool to have a fairway carved into the middle of the driving range. So Ryan, I'm not used to stuff working this fast. All right. Ryan came into the golf shop and he's like, hey, you want to come out and map out that fairway? And I was like, sure, that'd be great. When do you want to do that? Well, we can go right now. Like, wow, that's awesome. So we actually, this fall, he started mowing a fairway. So now golfers can, from all sorts of angles on that tee box, can practice tee balls down that fairway. It's pretty cool. So how long do you think before that thing really gets established and visually we can see a fairway down the middle of that?
Well, since we just mowed her down here like a week or so ago, I mean, next year, depends on the growing of it. We'll have
I'm super
by
excited.
July for sure.
That's
We'll have
awesome.
a nice striped fairway in the middle there.
It'll be striped. It'll look just.
It'll look.
Are you a stripe? Okay. Are you a fairway? We talked about fairways before being striped. Are you a striped person or are you a back and forth?
Half and half or straight?
striped?
Yes.
Eric, how about you? You're half and half? That's what I thought.
Ours are too.
Too
They're,
narrow? Too wiggly?
well, like one side will be way too wide and the other side will be way too short. I mean, it doesn't work
Okay.
except for like one hole. I mean, it does look nice when you can get it done.
Looks great. Looks the best.
You like
I don't
you
know
like
about
out and back,
I
huh?
like out and back. Yeah.
Half and
Really?
half.
I can always tell when our past assistant superintendent Lucas was in charge of the fairways because he was a half and half. And then Jason would get involved and now we've got stripes and a half and half.
See, I kind of like it when you get that like really cool checkerboard kind of look. That looks really good. The tartan plaid.
Just gotta burn them in, mow the same direction, a couple, 3 days in a row. And really, really defined.
Anyone on YouTube have a comment on out and back or striped? What do they like their fairways? We're getting really technical now.
Not yet. We'll see if they chime in.
So where did that? So originally, I'm thinking this now. Originally, was it out and back, or what was? Why is out and back? I mean that
It's
tournament.
faster.
Okay.
Out and back is faster to mow.
You're
And
just
you
doing
can
laps.
you can put multiple mowers to mow the same fairway. And so when we're kind of pinched for time, we'll put 2 mowers, 3 mowers out on the same fairway and just do the half and half.
Mhm.
And we can get it done faster. Striping takes a lot more time, but it's not crazy amounts more time, but it takes more time.
Sure. What do you think? What do you like?
I've never seen a fairway in my life, so it doesn't really matter.
You guys
So
saw
you start
some.
talking about how you want the roughs mowed, let me know.
How do you like your
Short-
rough mode?
shorter.
We played Burl Oaks, so Chris and I and Greg played this weekend.
Here we go.
Windsong and Burl Oaks. Was it Burl Oaks that had back and forth? I can't remember.
I can't either. Greg?
No, I'm sure we didn't have any fairways either. Okay, next question.
I'm sure they switch it up.
Windsong was out
We'll
of
switch it
back.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just depends on the timing. A lot of times they'll switch them up
Sure.
just so you don't get the grass. You don't want the grass to be laying over any one direction. So mowing different patterns just keeps the grass so stands straighter, which tends to have a better lie for when the ball's on there.
So visually, as a golfer, when a golfer's looking down a fairway, do you feel like it's an advantage to have an out and back stripe because it's easy? Like if somebody's actually aiming for a fairway, point in the fairway, it's easier to figure out where the center line of that fairway is. Is that
That's if we put the center line where it's supposed
Right.
to be.
yeah? No comment.
Dad doesn't know that. He didn't want that.
Didn't work for me.
Okay, let's talk about golf carts. Okay, so the question on here was, can carts cause damage to the golf course? Yeah, I think we know that, but the bigger question is, with this increased amount of play, are you guys seeing more cart rentals
Yes.
than
It
normal?
seems like every year
Yeah.
we tend to increase.
And I don't really have a whole lot to go off of from Osgood prior, but it seems like we rent a whole lot of golf carts for a golf course that was built to be walking only. But we had this conversation before that younger players even are coming into the game and they only know riding. They only know golf as a riding deal, good, bad, or otherwise. But it's what does that do for your jobs? We see some pinch points out at Osgood where it's like, man, turf quality really suffers because of carts. But what do you guys see? How can we be better with cart traffic use and patterns and those types of things?
Biggest thing is wherever there's paths, to try to keep them on the paths where we can. Usually that's around tees
All
and
four
around
wheels.
greens. It'd be nice to keep all four wheels on there. You don't have to slide over for the beverage cart to get past. They can drive around if they happen to show up at that time.
Sure.
But, carts are fine. It's just, for us, we have to move some of the traffic patterns at the ends of where cart paths are. We have to put in some stakes so we can direct them in different directions. Otherwise, they tend to go on the same path. And then that's when we start wearing out turf. And then we end up with big issues when we wear out turf. And you have to either grow it back, stake it off, rope it off for a while until it can heal itself back up. So biggest thing is to just change the patterns up.
Yeah. What do you see out at Osgood? What are your difficult spots, would you say, due to carts?
Well, since our cart paths are so narrow,
We have
every turn, every green, every tee, but we have a lot of really bad pinch spots out there because it was a walking course only. So it's hard to get them. And like you say, you just gotta keep moving the ropes around to keep them, try not to wear out one spot too bad and keep them moving around.
When did they decide to go away from the walking only at Osgood? Do you
I
guys know?
think it was within the first year, I think.
Like, so when they first opened, no, Lisa was the head pro then. You were.
He was a head pro.
Yeah,
No, wait,
it was.
you were
exactly.
pre-head
At
pro
one point.
before they opened.
It was. It was.
Shortest.
Shortest tenure ever.
But when they first opened, was it a walking only golf
No.
course? Okay, so they had carts opening day.
Yeah.
All right. Did they have paths opening day?
A lot of paths, I think, have come about, haven't they?
They had, I
a
think
number of paths, I think.
I think there was just a
Yeah.
short amount of path and then we just crushed concrete to give it a natural look.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can tell that, in the placement of some of those, it's like struggling, right, to get the carts in some area. Well, we're still talking about that on too. How can we get carts in some situations where they avoid the route of play and try and get them in some, oh my goodness, phone etiquette.
Does that mean we're done?
Yeah, it's like time, done.
It seems like, do you think it's like, it's almost like kind of a culture? Because Craig, like back in the day, 60 years ago, you were there,
Before carts?
before
Before the wheel?
The wheel. The wheel. Let's go back in time.
you were, I swear, we're the speed kart capital of North Dakota and probably Minnesota.
You still
Still
do.
I'm sure you do, but I would say there's probably a lot less.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so I mean, you would look at Edgewood honestly, and you would see let's say I'll use their men's club for instance. You would see very few golf carts going out of the men's club. It would be, you look at every tee, there'd be 2 groups every hole and 8 push carts out there, maybe a few carry bags. And I'm sure that's changed quite a bit. And then you look at other facilities, you look at a Hazeltine. It seems like the culture there is to walk. I'm not saying, I think you can have carts, I believe. Or you look at Windsong, you can have carts, but the culture is kind of walking once again. I think in the Fargo-Moorhead area, the culture is really kind of turned to, I don't care what facility you go to, it tends to be probably more riding, and I wouldn't be surprised. That's the same way the country clubs, I mean, the way they design, even Oxbow has made it very difficult even to walk. And so it seems like it's almost like the culture a little bit. So I think you'd almost have to kind of change the culture and say, yeah, we really want this to be a walking golf course. And maybe really kind of do some things to kind of promote that and whatever else to get back to there.
The cart boom really happened when all these golf courses were built on, again, right? And you're looking at housing developments, right? And the housing development gets the best pieces of the property and the golf course gets second. So there's big areas of distances that need to be covered. Well, it just made it almost impossible to walk. So then all of a sudden there was a lot of facilities that had to go to carts. And then all of a sudden facilities looked at the revenue generated by golf carts, which is significant.
Mhm.
And that's kind of how it's evolved. As we age as a population, we get to a certain age, and I'm not quite there yet, but I'm working on it, where maybe riding needs to happen sometimes. We still at Edgewood on a men's, we have a 3 o'clock and a 6 o'clock. If we have 120 players that are 6 o'clock, there has been nights where we've only had 4 carts out. So we still have a lot of that. The push cart was a great invention because it's much easier to push your cart and they're lighter and they've done a really good job with that. So you're not pulling it, breaking your shoulder all the time like we used to do it. So we still, again, it kind of depends on the golf course. At Edgewood, the greens and tees are super close together. We're not 7,500 yards long, so there is opportunity there to actually walk if you want to walk. But a lot of times the golf cart came about because of developments.
Yeah, and I'd say all the courses too in Fargo Park's family, we all have very nice walkable golf courses where doesn't mandate a golf cart by any means. So the other thing that I've kind of noticed too, and I have no evidence to back this up, I have no statistical evidence to back this up, but it does seem geographically, we do up north, we walk more than down south. It seems like further south, there's especially when I'm visiting my dad down in Kansas City, it seems like it is riding all the time, you're always riding. So I just think of some people are exposed to this game and have only ridden a cart. That's just wild to me because I like when we played Windsong and we got to walk out there. That's the best way to experience a golf course. So, and now when you guys play, here's a great, I love this. So you guys in the morning, you're zooming around on your cart, you're looking at stuff, but when you guys go out and play, do you start noticing stuff on your golf courses that maybe you didn't notice otherwise?
For sure. Because when you're on a golf cart, when we're in the mornings, we tend to drive similar patterns. Even if you're trying to see different areas, you tend to drive similar patterns. But when you're playing,
Could be anywhere.
It could be anywhere.
Yeah.
Who knows where you're going to see, and you may see a spot where you haven't been for a while, and you hit a ball there, and
Yeah.
you see different things.
Oh, absolutely.
It definitely helps.
That's why it's not much fun playing a lot of times. And then you go to any other golf course and you're just picking everything out on there. But I think still try to enjoy it, have a few beers and go for it.
Yeah, but you guys are your toughest critics, right? So you see that stuff, it's glaring, right? Because you're like, oh, totally missed that, right? But golfers tend to not see that. What's the one thing you would say that you notice the most that we when we go out and play, we're kind of like, all right, no, we don't ever even look at that? Is there something that is like a pet peeve of yours that you see on the golf course that you wish you could do better that maybe we don't notice, but it just kind of irks at you? Is there something like that?
I would say like a lot of the, it's more like on cleanups around like greens and tees, if they're scalping or not going in.
Just a little discoloration.
Yeah, you don't really notice it till you're on there. And stuff like that, I guess. Maybe some grass that hasn't been weed whacked or something.
We whipped around trees or something, or what do you got over at Edgewood? What's your pet peeve over there?
Pet peeve is, just having the garbage on the ground and people drive by and don't pick it up. They just, somebody else will get it. That's a constant. But the thing I always seem to notice is if we miss a stripe or you're on the green and you miss a little stripe where they didn't overlap enough, or on a fairway or in the rough, we mowed this, but we skipped this. That just jumps out every time, no matter where I'm at, and you can pick them out everywhere. Or you'll have stripes, and you'll have two stripes that are together. He started in the middle of the green and went same direction twice. It sticks out, and you notice it immediately.
So back in the day, I worked for you, Jason.
Yeah.
I worked for Jason at Morgan Country Club on maintenance, and
You did say you were the worst employee he's ever had, but
I only lasted a year, and I don't even know if I lasted the whole year. But walk mowing greens, something I never would have noticed. Maybe I would have later on, but I remember you could always tell the newbies that started because it was like the bananas, right? Yeah. So like the stripes were like curved, and so then after, I remember the first time I got done, I was like, I did a pretty good job, and then I can't remember if it was you or Lee or someone came up and looked at it like, you're mowing bananas in these greens. What's going on here? Everything was just like a big old boomerang.
I was just going to ask, what was the best story you have of Chris working for you? Was that part of the boomerang?
That was a long time ago. If you walk mowing greens, most of it was walk mowing greens.
So I'll share one because you got to burn yourself. I'm going to burn myself. So I worked 2 years golf maintenance as well. And I'd worked for, which is now my brother-in-law, over at Village Green. And, you get up pretty early to do your guys' job. You could probably be a little groggy in the morning if the head's not totally clear. So I was out there mowing greens with a triplex. We don't walk them. We don't walk them over there. And so I must have gotten through about the first 7 or 8 holes. And Rick comes over there and he goes, "Hey, you getting much grass?" And I'm like,
"No,
gosh, you know what? I haven't, I don't think I've dumped my buckets yet." And he goes, "Well, that's because you're on the T-mower."
That's pretty good. We had a greens mower go out on our approaches. And he's like, I made a half a pass and the buckets filled up instantly. Like, hey, look, that's because you have the greens mower. See this little sticker, it says greens? Yeah, let's go switch them up. And we had a nice scalp spot for about half a
just
approach.
A buzz cut.
Yeah, it recovered, but boy, she was tight.
Do you ever work maintenance, Greg?
No. That would have been bad for the maintenance. Really bad.
Yeah.
So we're getting to the time of year. We're going to talk about this as we wrap up later, about closings and stuff like that. You guys are here. Let's talk about what it takes to close down a golf course. And ideally, whether temps maybe when you do it and how long maybe it takes you to do it, depending on staff.
Typically to close, the first thing, starting like today here, we're going to blowing out your irrigation system. We'll start next week. That's the most important thing to get done. And generally it's that 2nd to 3rd week of October that we take that before the temps get too cold. So you blow out your irrigation. Then basically you want to have a couple, at least decent days, nothing that's too cold or windy. We have to put our winter chemicals down on the greens, tees, and fairways to prevent snow mold and stuff like that. And so that if it's a good calm day, you can usually get everything done in a day, maybe takes 2. So you get everything sprayed, and then you let that.
So you can't do that during a freeze or a frost, I'm assuming.
Well, you can't for a freeze and a frost,
Okay. But
when you're spraying, just like when you spray during the summer, you can't have a windy day.
Yeah.
It's got to be calm. Okay. So you get that done. Typically, you'll let that dry a day or 2. Basically, it's just your spray is covering the leaf. It doesn't get watered in, protects the leaf. And then what we do different than, we top dress everything fairly heavy on the units. So that's our cover instead of putting covers on. Osgood, they do covers, but we top dress all those just to get just a layer to protect the crowns of your grass plants. That will just help for the wind and
What are we protecting it from?
wind. Mainly wind desiccation as the wind keeps going and the cold temps. So if you just let it just stay open and you don't have snow cover, you can pretty much guarantee you're gonna have some type of damage on that turf come spring. So will you for sure? We don't know, but we top dress it so we can kind of protect the crowns from the wind. And then what we hope shortly after we get that done is we get some snow cover. Because if we can have snow cover, snow's a great insulator for the turf. And if we get years where we have early snow cover and it just kind of stays, for the most part, it's probably going to be a pretty good spring.
To close down, and like Jason said, we don't cover Edgewood,
No, we do.
and you guys do. So, what same type of procedures there?
Yeah, we blow out first, and then the day after we close, we take everything off the course and try to wait as long as you can to get your chemical down so it lasts longer in the spring.
Okay.
The wind tends to blow all the snow off of green. Covers help because they can help protect that from that wind desiccation. And it's just some people cover religiously just because, that's what they've done. They've got the covers, you might as well use them. We've never really done it up there. We've got a lot of trees that allow the snow to stay once it's there. So, I mean, for my opinion, over all the years, I've been at places we've covered, I've been at places we haven't covered. There's some years that covers will burn you. There's some years that not being covered will burn you. It's just it's kind of, if you have them, you might as well use them type of thing. And if you're an open course where you don't have a lot of trees, I would say you're better off using them than not, just to help get that added layer of protection.
Okay, so now we've figured out the closing things, and we've gone through our winter. We're gonna go back to the question of when we're gonna open next year. What needs to take place for you guys and gals for the golf courses to open? I mean, is it, okay, we don't have any snow, we can open, or what kind of things do we need to have to open?
Ideally, to open, you're gonna want your, obviously snow-free, but you're gonna want your ground to be firm. You'll want your frost to be down. It doesn't necessarily have to be out, but you're gonna want your frost to be down enough that your surface is firm, not wet and sloshy. So you kind of want to dry up. I mean, obviously we can open with a few areas that are out of play a little bit, are a little wet, but for the most part, you want your turf to kind of firmed up and to just not be, okay, we lost snow in February, let's open. Well, if your ground is still frozen from top down, that's not gonna, you're just gonna wear out your plant. And the earlier you open in spring, if you're not recovering, you're gonna see that damage that you're gonna have to recover from. So if we had to pick a day to open, we'd be snow-free, frost would be down, 6-8 inches. You could stick a probe in the ground and not run into frost, and not necessarily be all the way out. And you're not gonna have any wet areas in your turf. It's kind of that firm where you can walk on it and you're not seeing your footprints everywhere. So that's kind of what we judge it on. And, and your temperatures, you want to have some temps that aren't always in the 30s, low 30s at night, 20s at night. You want it to be a little warmer so you're, just kind of.
So what soil temp, and I know it varies, but at what soil temp do we start to see at least some recovery? Like right now?
50
right?
degrees.
Okay, so we're in the fall right now, we're not seeing any recovery.
You're starting to lose your temps. Your plants are trying to harden off to go into winter. So they're pretty much after that first killing frost, they're pretty much done growing, done recovering. Anything we do now, if we see soil divots, we basically just put sand down. We don't even bother putting seed in. Because if it does germinate, it's not gonna survive the winter anyway, so. But 50 degrees is where you'll start seeing plants start to recover and start to grow.
That's a lot. That's a lot of stuff. I keep thinking, when you guys are, when you guys talk about all of the temperatures and the chemicals and stuff, I mean, you guys are scientists out there, like having to deal with all of the variability that Mother Nature has, and then on top of that, having to have the right processes and procedures. It's pretty impressive when you really boil it down to, what you guys are accomplishing out there. So thank you. Hey, by the way, thank you for coming on the show. You guys really, really appreciate it. We did have another question on here. Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
From Dean. It says, talk about the different types of specialized equipment, mowers, etc., needed to maintain a course. So that's a super.
Well, there's tons of equipment that you'll see on a golf course. I mean, your reel mowers, generally will cut greens, tees, and fairways with a reel mower. Greens tend to have more blades on the reels. Our greens mowers have 14 blade reels just to get that finer cut. And then depending on your bend knife, your height of cut is adjusted there. Our tees cut at about 1/2 inch. So you got a greens mower, smaller, lightweight. Tee mower, similar to a greens mower, smaller, lightweight. Fairway mower still lightweight, but a little bit bigger because you have more area to cover. And your rough mowers are generally your rotary mowers that mow the roughs. They're usually bigger, so you can go faster. I mean, the equipment we got. I mean, we've got tons of everything. I mean, those are the mowers. We've got 60-inch little rough mower, 72-inch. We've got the 11-foot big rough mower. We've got, air fires. We've got, sweepers. We've got blowers. We've got.
The turf industry, I mean, it is wild. Like how many, there's pieces of equipment that are so specialized to do one thing, and that's it,
Fertilizer spreaders, core harvesters, air
Yep.
fires.
Yeah, on the air fires, we've got one that will be getting here soon. It's a dry eject machine. It injects water and it injects sand into the green, so you can help change your profile over. That'll help with the aerification, and it's pretty much, that's the only thing it does. But as soon as you're done, you're ready for play.
I'm wondering, is Dean trying to run his own golf course or like build a golf hole over here? Because he's wanting to know the different types of what he
If
needs
you're
to
gonna
start
build
his
your
own.
own golf hole, build a synthetic one.
Okay, because
Build a synthetic one.
that's
Don't
the
build
question.
a real one.
That's the question you get. Sometimes you get guys coming in to the golf shop and like, hey, I got this lake place, and I'd really like to put a green at my lake house.
You
What-
you
can I
flat
get
out
it?
tell them, do you want to enjoy your lake place fish, or do you want to maintain your greens? Because it'll take all of your time and it'll take all of your money, and
Right.
it still won't be what you're used to going out to on the golf course. So build a synthetic one. It'll
Because-
cost you a little more to start, but then you're done and you get to just go and play on it.
Mm-hmm. Because you get those guys that are like, hey, I just want to get a used walk mower or something, and I can I think they've got this romantic view of just like waking up in the morning, mowing the grass, and then having this pristine green in there. But it's like backbreaking to build, right? Because just building it alone and making it like actually worthwhile, that's no easy task, right? So what goes into building a
Well,
green?
you're not just smoothing out your backyard and putting
Yeah.
grass seed on and letting it go. I mean, we've got 12 inches of a greens mix, which is like an 80% sand, 20% peat. Underneath that, there's drain tile, so it drains. You've got a gravel layer. I mean, it's not just dirt and grass and go.
Just push it up
Yeah.
and then
I mean, old time push-up greens, they're still around everywhere, but for the most part, those are the ones that are failing
struggling. Yeah.
and struggling that need to be redone.
Well, hey, if you guys are listening, watching, whatever you're doing in social media, if you're following this podcast, this is Muni Misfits in the Morning. Today is our super episode. We've got superintendents at Rose Creek and
No, he's not here. Not here.
where is it?
He
Where-
bailed.
El Zagel as well. So thanks for coming on today, guys. Really, really appreciate it. Oh, look at that. You got the headshots up there too. That was nice. That was the first headshot too, like 25 years ago.
Oh, I bet. When you first started. Looked pretty young.
It's been kind of fun getting the grass clippers together with the sweater folders.
I love it. So, thanks for coming on. Really, really. Do you guys have anything else to add?
Well, where are you gonna go next? We should talk about closures.
Where am I gonna go next? I'm gonna kick my feet up, and I'm just gonna
He's only got a couple days left.
dead man walking.
Let's talk about what's coming up with
Okay.
our golf course.
Do you want to start?
I can start if you want me to start.
I would love you to start.
So, you just want me to do mine?
Yeah.
Edgewood staying open.
We're open.
No, Elzagel is closing. Sunday's the last day. Edgewood will stay open through the end of the month, and then we'll kind of weather the pitting, see what happens. How about you, Chris?
So Osgood, we are going to be open through Sunday, the 16th. All right. So that'll be our final day of the year. Right now, we still do have a fair amount of construction going on right now. So, Ryan, as far as you love this, right? Hot seat. So as far as the course construction, when are they going to be moving over to go through the driving range? Do you know?
We're supposed to start next week.
Okay.
Monday, start building the road over there. They haven't finished 6 yet, but hopefully it's put a culvert in the final grade. But
They're waiting. Are they waiting on parts or something?
parts are here.
Okay.
I'm just waiting on them now again.
Okay. So, but that's a big part of why we're having to close at this time too. So, but yeah, the 16th is the last day. So Saturday looks decent. Okay.
Yeah, Saturday, Sunday look okay.
So I didn't think Sunday looked very good, but if you like to go out there and trudge along and
How many times this time of year do you guys hear it's not that bad out there?
I know, oh, it's not too bad. Or if it wasn't just for if we didn't have the wind, right? So, but yeah, 16th is our last day. How about you, Matt?
Prairie Wood, last day will be on Sunday, so all 3 9-hole courses will be done after Sunday. And then, kind of like Edgewood for Rose Creek, we're gonna get through the end of the month. We'll see what the weather's like and see if we can keep rolling forward. Right, Eric? Yep. But no, otherwise, we don't have any more corporate events going on, so we've got kind of wide open play. Hopefully, we'll get some good days kind of coming up in the future. We do have our men's club still going on until the end of the season, just like you guys do as well. Yesterday, we did our Tough Man Challenge, which, boy, that was tough. With
T-Sheet looked pretty good.
Yeah,
Looked
I
like
think
you
we
had
had-
a fair amount
I
of
think we
people
had about
play.
50 players,
Nice.
and it was cold and breezy, and we had it set up, I thought, pretty tough. But yeah, so it was a lot of fun. So, we'll see kind of how things roll the next couple weeks plus, so.
Cool. So we still have a little bit of golf to be played, and then also if you've got a Fargo pass, you can play any of the facilities right now. So it's open season right now with those season passes. You guys have anything else to add?
Go Tom Hoagie,
Mhm.
up to tied for 13th
Timing tables.
after two
I love that
rounds.
name, timing
Yep.
tables.
So watch them today, later today, tape delay, whatever it is, because they're playing not here.
Japan.
Keep it going.
All right. Thank you for tuning in. This is Muni Misfits in the morning. We will catch you next week. Thanks for tuning in.